What a nice day here at Tochigi. We're here at the northern portion away from the Tokyo metropolis. It's actually round 3 of the Hololive GT3 Japan series for the 2023 season. Welcome on board to everyone in the stream. But first, let's take a look into the track map here at Motegi. We're looking at a track at a length of 4.8 kilometers in length, 14 corners in total. We're looking to race a total of 42 laps here in this race. By the way, the title of this race is actually the Motegi 400, if you want to know about it. So anyways, we're looking at a target lap time of maybe a 154.57, but that's if you're optimistic, because right now we're looking at the practice lap times and they're only lapping at a 152. Now, it's a split round 3 of the split season, and there will also be the split season finale coming up next month at Sepang in August. Hopefully everyone will be able to tune into that as well. Now, this track has got some prestige. It's hosted Super GT, it hosts for Super Formula, and it hosts MotoGP as well. So it's a world-class circuit, and you can have a lot of real-life motorsports events here. And speaking of close racing in the racing series, we have a pretty tight championship on our hands at the moment. Now, we haven't really updated the championship order here at the moment, and we've been way too busy. We apologize here. Now, we had Callan Gibbens and Daniel Bauer occupying the front 2 spots here with 25 points separating between the two. And 95 points back from Gibbens is Shazin Reza in the Luna car. 280 points. He really needs a good result if he wants to remain in realistic contention for the title. And then we have Kaczynski and Skyji Mikolev occupying the top 5. You can see here it's a pretty tight championship here at the moment. There's really nothing between them, so obviously with a lot of things to play for, you're gonna see a lot of you're gonna see a good amount of battles here. And anyways, we have Rim Olgor, Makoto Miyamoto, Christoph Salomon, John Mee, and Michael Turner occupying the top 10. Juan Suarto is in 11th place here, and in this sense, obviously in a disadvantage here because the first 2 races have been pretty not so okay for the split A Nissan drivers. They want to have a good performance, but of course there's also the Lexus cars that they need to focus, because looking at the Motegi track, there's a lot of medium high-speed corners, and there's going to be a lot of things going in favor of the Lexus cars. So Juan Suarto, if that isn't enough for Juan Suarto, remember today is the day Sharon Flair will have her mini birthday live. So Flair, what's her anniversary live? Whatever the case is, she will have a live concert tonight. So Suarto will have something to prove for today if he wants to get his legs out. Fumi for Tokinosora as well, he needs to perform as well. As Sergei Kayumov, Leo, Robert Kurisha, Kamina Riba will want to have their fortunes turn around in the second portion of the split season. And as for the number 54 car, the Hakuri Koyori Honda, there's actually a driver replacement. It's no longer Zeke Wimberly driving the car, it's actually Fabio Mendes. So watch out for him as he makes his Hololive GT3 debut. Griffin Wheatley for Kazama Iroha, he will also make his 3rd race of the Hololive GT3 season, and of course he wants to get himself out of the 0 points mark. So yeah, now with that out of the way, let's get on board into the pit lane. And let's hang on. We'll welcome everyone to the stream as we're about to get this qualifying session finally underway. I'm Mama Shazreza in the commentary booth, and for the first time since a while actually, Zeke Wimberly is with us. So Zeke, welcome back to the commentary booth. Hopefully you're going to be enjoying this Motegi 400 race.
I'm looking forward to the new driver in the Koyori car. I did not perform good really whatsoever in both Formula Hololive and Holo GT3, so I'm hoping for Fabio Mendes to break that streak maybe.
Well, looking at Formula Hololive actually, he did perform quite well there in that race. I mean, if I remember correctly, he, how do we say this? Did pull up with a points finish, at least in a high position that you have. So obviously hope is high on Mendes for him to basically get the Koyori car up and running actually. Now speaking of other drivers who want to be up and running, here we have Isekai Mikolev. We do mention that he's currently inside the top 5 of the standings, at least in Hololive GT3. He has seen some pretty decent performances in Formula Hololive, but right now this is the place where he can really show up, and this is and right now it's crunch time for him. And speaking of crunch time, we also wanted to mention to you, in 2022 there were 9 Hondas participating, and only 2 Hondas have yet to win, which is the Sakuramiko Honda and the Murasaki Shion Honda. Now this year we have the Shion Honda finally winning. So out of the first 9 Hondas in this field, from Sakuramiko to Yukihana Lamy, this is the only Honda that has yet to win a race. So what do you think?
Well, they're still doing very, very good, even though that they haven't won a race just yet. But they've been pulling some decent consistency to land themselves in around 5th place overall in the standings, which is still quite a respectable position, especially when you haven't won a race just as yet.
So anyways, we're gonna come up on to the end of this lap here at Twin Ring Motegi, just at the Tokichi Prefecture. Now, first of all, you need to get a good exit here off of that final chicane. There's a long straight here that you can use here past the start-finish line with the Hololive and Hololive City sponsor boards. Coming to the 100-meter board, that will be your first reference for your braking zone. Might want to brake later than that for the double apex right-hander of turn 1. And coming into another one of those long back straights here, not as long as some of the other tracks like Fuji, but still pretty long. Now here you need to brake at around the 70-meter board and to the double into turns 2 and then turns 3. You can take it as one corner here, or you're gonna take it flat out here at turn 3. 28.841 from Miko left for the first sector. You might want to brake right at the 75-meter mark into turn 4. A pretty sharp right-hander coming into the exit of the oval portion of the track. Now coming into a fast right-hander that's turn 5 and 6 double apex. And then into the long S, which is turn 7 and 8. 48.705 for Mikolev in that second sector. Exiting turn 8, this is where you need to really get your lap times in, get your cornering correctly. Downshift to the first gear here, probably the slowest corner in Motegi. And coming into turn 10 here, brake at a 50-meter board, just brake a bit here. Get a good exit off of turn 10. This is the hairpin corner, so you need to get the best exit possible. And you can see here, first of all, it is pretty flat, and then it goes downhill slightly. So you're gonna have some hard time braking into turn 11, into the 100-meter board. Brake just about there. 130.015 actually for him. So right now he needs to these turns 12, 13, and 14. You need to be very cautious there onto the final chicane. Don't carry too much speed here, as I've actually proven a few times before. But whatever the case is, we have the first definitive lap times here. Shazin Reza with 152.207. Mikolev has a 53.280. So there you have the first guys setting up their lap times. And right now, it's the Himamori Luna Honda on top.
So far, it's a pretty average lap times right now. So I guarantee that the leaderboard is going to change, such as it just did with Daniel Bauer and Salmerman finishing their laps in Salmerman 2nd and Bauer 3rd respectively.
Oh man, we're looking into the top 2 at the moment. It's currently a Honda front row lockout here. We do mention that the Lexus cars are going to be showing up, but look at Wawan Suharto. Right now, 152.032. We said that he wants to try to perform on the day that Shiranui Flood is going to have her birthday live, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Suharto is currently on provisional pole, while Calvin Gibbons in 2nd.
Gibbons is definitely a contender, but seeing as Bauer is only 3 positions away, I think this is going to be a very great battle this race, especially if Bauer can improve his lap time.
Now, just wanted to check onto the data for today. For today, the hall is going to be pretty busy here at the moment because we have the Pearl Live number 2, Yamato Fantasia. If you have seen the Hall Life alternative, And speaking of alternative, we're looking at an alternation of the standings here at the moment. Shadriza now currently sits at a 151.997, faster than everyone so far. And you can see here that Ri Liu and John Mee also finished their lap times here, and they're now inside 3rd and 4th, which is amazing.
It seems that the underdogs, at least for Ri Liu, as Pollux hasn't been doing very good, are really showing at least so far an excellent race pace. So I'd love to see if they can keep that up in the main race.
Now, right now we're looking into the data, and yes, it is Sharanui Flair's birthday live stream for tonight, actually. And also, remember, we do mention that it's going to be pretty busy for Hololive at the moment. Now we have the Pro of Live number 2, Yamato Fantasia. We have Sakura Miko, Shirakan Fubuki, Nakiri Ayame, and Okami Mio participating. So right now we also wanted to mention to you that Mikolev is currently in 16th place. So right now he probably needs to have another crack at a lap time if he wants to put himself on top of the standings. And also for something else, by the way. So also. It's also going to be pretty busy for all the assistants for Koyori. Remember when we mentioned that the Hollow Scars have been performing quite well? So Fabio Mendes is currently in 10th place in his Hololive GT3 debut. And what better way to do it than to also accompany Koyori's new outfit?
So true. So far, right now in 10th place, which is kind of in the points. I mean, it's pretty average. They're doing all right.
And speaking of average, forget about averages. Look at Ri Liu's lap time, 151.969, really showing off his range of Hololive GT3 skills. And look at John Mee, 151.828. Again, we are seeing a lot of changes on the top of the leaderboards here, and we're only halfway into the session.
This is a very, very interesting qualifying. People are coming out of left, right, and center, snagging position left and right. I would love to see this amount of swapping in the main race.
Now, at the moment, it's actually pretty tight here at the moment here between 2nd and 3rd. Looking into the differences in the lap time, they're only separated by 200ths of a second between 2nd and 3rd. Of course, 2nd and 1st is separated by around a 10th of a second, but as you can see here, there's a lot of spread between manufacturers here. And for Gibbens and Bauer, they're currently not having the aces because Shazad Reza is currently in 3rd place. So obviously they're going to lose points to the driver in 3rd place in the split A standings.
Oh shoot, I got nothing. I'm sorry.
Okay, so anyways, just wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on the standings here at the moment. The Lexus cars are trying their absolute best, but right now, we do want to mention to you that the Nissans had seen some struggles around the first 2 races of the season. And looking into the current standings here at the moment, only 2 cars inside the top 10 are currently Nissans. But there might be a change because looking at Kayumov, Kurisha, and especially Kayumov and Kurisha, they're actually pretty close.
Yeah, it's only about a 0.8, which is not it's a decent okay, hold on, I gotta think of my words here. It is a decent pace though let out, so I don't think that they're completely out of contention at the moment, and I do believe that they definitely can make a stunning lap this qualifying session, especially with the way that they have performed, especially Fumi in past races.
Well, speaking of Fumi, we do want to mention to you that since the postseason in 2022, Fumi hasn't had the best of starts in the Split A season. Of course, he had seen him retire from the Fuji race in March, and then when the Hololive GT3 resumed in June, he was outside the top 10. So he currently sits at around the 20-point mark. So for the 2022 champion, he really needs something to really develop. Oh, there is a spin there for Daniel Bauer here. He actually got pretty close there to Fumi, and that will be his run over. He will get back to the pits now for some repairs and to try his lap times again. But anyways, back to Fumi. He is currently having this what we call a sophomore slump, if I want to call him that. Like first season in Hololive GT3, of course it's the first season, he wins the championship, and now he's in his sophomore season and he's in a slump.
Well, I am an optimist, so I believe that Fumi does have the potential to reclaim his former glory, quote unquote, and really bring out his inner racer within him.
And just a bit of a check here, let's take a look back into the timetable. Just hang on here. So yeah, Fumi currently sitting 130.666, so he's not improving on his lap time. So yeah. So anyways, another change. Michael Turner is up to 14th.
Kind of a little bit of rustling within the back ranks, which if there's a position, you might as well take it. And I'm noticing Turner. I'm gonna be honest. This is kind of a race where the people with the lower amount of points are really starting to blitz through, at least in the qualifying, which is a interesting development, I'd say.
So looking at John Mead and Ri Liu especially, they are outside the top 5. Mead having a pretty decent opening of the season, and Ri Liu not really having the best of seasons in Hololive GT3. Now mind you, Ri Liu has a very amazing season in Formula Hololive, but your skills in open wheel racing don't necessarily translate to skills on the GT cars, these sports cars that we're having at the moment. So obviously there have been some performance differences between, in these cars, and not everyone can adapt to it. But if you can adapt to both of them, then you can really cement yourself as one of the greats in terms of driving, of course.
And before we forget, it seems Kamiri Riba has just jumped up to 13th, and as I was trying to say, Carisha has managed to jump up to 8th place, showing that they do indeed have at least a little bit of pace within them, a very promising candidate, I'd argue.
So right now we're looking into the final 2 minutes of this qualifying session, and looking into the order. Mi is currently on provisional pole, and which I think would be the first time the Hachama car gets pole since a long while, actually. If you look at the what you call the records, if you look at the pole, actually, scratch that, the Hachama car has never scored a pole position in its pretty short career. And right now, if Mead can still stay in first place, then John Mead is gonna score the first pole position for the Hachama car in Hololive GT3. And speaking of improvements, Wheatley have now jumped up to 8th place, beating out his fellow Hololive teammate Robert Carisha.
It seems that at least hold on, I gotta do some. Is Kayumov is a Holux driver, right? It seems the Holux cars are finally starting to, you know, get a little bit comfortable within the field, at least for now, instead of hanging around the back rank. So maybe we could see some Holux action.
Holux action for real? I mean, we have Ri Liu currently in 2nd place. And currently at the back, currently further back, we have Wheatley and Carisha 8th and 9th. And then we also have Kayumov in 12th place and Mendez in 11th. They're not last. Well, 4 of the Holux cars are currently in the midfield, and only 1 of the Holux cars are currently in contention for the race win, which is John Mee and Ri Liu. I'm gonna count the field at the moment, and right now there are only 8 cars left on the track. And with that, the qualifying session has officially come to an end. Checker flag is currently up in the air for the qualifying session of the Motegi 400 Split A race. And right now we're looking at the drivers looking to complete their laps, and Sharnash Reza and Michael Turner are already crossing their lines. Turner does have an improvement, but he does not bump all the other drivers out.
I'm just happy that the Holux cars are in the midfield instead of the backfield. That just shows real driver growth. You know, you're improving slowly but surely.
Yeah, and speaking of fates here at the moment, we're looking at Fumi. Fumi is currently still a bit down, but looking into his sector times, 129.254, only 4/10 behind the current fastest time, which is set by John Mead. But of course, he will actually chose to forfeit his lap time. So with that out of the way, that would be it for the qualifying session for the Split A drivers for the Motegi 400 race. So Z, John Mead on pole position, first Hachama pole position of Hololive GT3. What do you think?
This is technically the first time that the Hachama car has gotten pole, so this technically is quite historic and all, but I'm happy for John Mead. Kind of came out of nowhere. Happy for him, for real.
Amazing stuff for John Mead there. Anyways, another thing that we wanted to pay attention to is actually relive. But first of all, let's take a look into the starting lineup here. John Mead in the starting spot on the best seat in the house. The Hachama car number 81 Honda is going to be on is currently on pole position 151.828 for John Mead in the Hachama car. And then Ria Leo is also not far behind in the Sakamata Chloe car. Best ever start for the Sakamata Chloe car in any of the two series. And then we have Mama Reza continuing his very good run here. He's currently in third place for Luna. And then we have the best Nissan in the field on the day that Sharon Flight will have her vlog birthday stream. Wallens Harto in fourth place. Callum Gibbons fifth place will want to try to limit the damage done by Shazin Reza by qualifying fifth place in the Roboco Lexus. Dan Bauer also not far behind as well. He wants to try to have an edge on Gibbons on the start as well. He will start sixth for Yozo Ramel. In the ASCII Honda, it is a massive amount of surprise here. Not a bit of surprise, but Salma Man is currently in seventh place for ASCII. Griffin Wheatley for the Kazamai Roja. He wants to try to bounce back from the spin at Tsukuba. He wants to try to score his first points in Hololive GT3 for Kazamai Roja. He's currently sitting in eighth. Croatia in ninth place for Takani Louis. He will start alongside Raiji Kaczynski in 10th place for Yusuke Choko. Now Z, let's continue on to the 8 other drivers.
In 11th place we have Fabio Mendez in the Koyori car. I'm rooting for you. In 12th place we have Seri Kayumov from
It's
hold on.
lapless.
Sorry. I don't know my flags. Anyway, they are in the lapless car. Rim Olgor, the Shuba car in 13th place. In 14th place we have Michael Turner in the Shiogen car. Camerata Riba in the Amara Polka car, clowning around with currently, as it stands, 1 point. Hopefully me, kind of falling off, I'm gonna be honest, currently in 16th place, just outside the points. Makoto Miyamoto in what I believe is the Watame car, currently sitting in 17th. And then in 18th we have Izakaijin Mikolev, finishing the standings. Oh my god, I butchered that so bad.
It doesn't matter, Z. We all learn from experiences. Anyways, so right now we have a lot of drivers looking to have a promising start to their race here. We have the basically the 18 cars lining up on the grid for the start. We're just gonna need to get the command ready here to start the Motegi 400 Split A race, and you can see here we have all the cars lining up here. We have the 5 red lights onto the billboards here. John Mead is on pole position and Ria Leo is alongside him. Who's gonna edge ahead of this 42 lap race? The race gets underway. And as you can see here, predictably the Hondas have a better start here. The top 3 are pulling away, but look at the battle for the race lead. Ria Leo is about to stamp his authority onto the race lead. Shoves John Mead out of position. It looks like these two drivers are still side by side heading into turn 2 and 3. But it looks like John Mead will try to fight back. It looks like he's going to try to push Leo off. And it's just gonna move him out of position. You can see here that Mead has taken a lot of curb here, and he's gonna lose about a good amount of momentum, a good amount of dust kicking out. And as you can see here, more drivers losing out, and you can see here Fumi's dropped down to last place. But as it's looking into the current order here at the moment, Mead is currently leading. Liu is in second, Shaolin Reza third, Suharto fourth, and then Bauer 5th. Gibbens is dropped down to 6th place. Bauer having a very good start there. Salman stays in 7th place. Croatia and Wheatley in 8th and 9th. Mendes actually jumps to 10th.
Look, there's a lot of shuffling. He managed to keep his lead even after taking just a tiny bit of curve right there, which nice to see that the Hatama car has managed to stay up front, and I am ecstatic that the Koyori car has jumped up one position. I am genuinely ecstatic.
So right now we have the current order in position here, and you can see here some gaps are opening up, some gaps are closing down. Remember, we do want to mention to you that Motegi is a pretty difficult track to overtake. There's literally only really 2 long straights for you to take advantage of, and even then there is a lot of medium high-speed corners, and in these pretty high downforce GT3 cars, there's going to be a lot of dirty air, and with those dirty air, you're going to lose out on speed onto the driver in front of you if you're way too close. So you can see here that some drivers are actually pulling away from all the other drivers here, and you can see here Me is still leading this race here pretty comfortably. 8/10 the gap between himself and Liu, and then Shadow Reza is also not far behind in 3rd. Now right now we do want to mention to you that Shadow Reza is currently 95 points behind Callum Gibbons, who is currently the championship leader. Now Shazrin is going to be looking to score 150 points, and as it stands, Gibbons is going to score about less than 100. So right now, as it stands, Shazrin is not going to be able to steal back the championship lead, and neither would Bauer, because Bauer and Gibbons are currently pretty closely tied between each other, currently 5th and 6th. So as it stands right now, Gibbons will maintain his championship lead coming into Sepang.
I do, however, I'd expect Bauer could potentially be a very crucial blitz up the standings, because as we've seen before, Bauer has managed to show great cunning within his races, managing to jump up a couple positions using methodical thinking and everything. So Bauer, I believe, can make it up the standings, maybe beat Gibbons in points in the standings this race. It is possible.
So looking into Daniel Bauer, it is slated that he might be able to ace a strategy. Now we have seen some historical records here, like for example the last Tsukuba race in Hololive GT3. He was in mid-table, and then when he finally pitted, can't remember if it was an undercut or overcut, but he did ace his strategy pretty well, jump up a lot of positions, and he manages to steal the race lead away from a lot of the drivers here, but still is too far from Callum Gibbons. But for John Meade, actually, we wanted to cut you off a bit. Right now, John Meade, 152.936, fastest lap of the race so far. As you can see here, there's a side-by-side battle between Shadow Reza and Ri Liu. You can see here, Ri Liu and Shadow Reza got pretty close there at the exit of the final corner. Shadow Reza took full advantage of it and is now up to 2nd place.
Ri Liu is still sitting comfortably in 3rd right now, and is currently about 0.4 away from Shazrin. So that position, from the looks of it, won't be reclaimed anytime soon. And looking at the timetables here, Wheatley is at about a 0.35, so that there might go into some conflict real soon.
So looking at Wheatley is getting close there to his fellow Hollis compatriot, Robert Croatia. Croatia is currently in 8th place. Now, let's see about the current differences in pace here at the moment. Let's take a look into the sector times. Now, obviously, due to how Motegi is also a MotoGP track, there's actually somehow 4 sectors that we need to deal with. So looking into the first 2 sectors here, Shazrin is actually matching on pace against me, but you can see here there has been some side-by-side battles between 2 Hollis cars, and then another Hollis car might be able to join in. Wheatley and Croatia are going side-by-side. This is a battle for 8th place. Wheatley is in the inside, and look at Mendes. Mendes is going to try to steal another position away from Croatia. Croatia is going to be dropping down to 10th. Oh, he's getting pretty close there with Wheatley. And will it be enough for Mendes to steal both positions? I think so. What a double overtake move by Mendes from 10th to 8th in only 5 corners.
What an astonishing move coming from the new driver of the Koyori car. Oh my goodness gracious, completely shafting your teammates for points. That's something I can respect.
That's something that you may respect. Now, obviously, there have been some slight contact, but I think it's still clean. There is still a good amount of space, so I doubt there will be a penalty given. So, and then speaking of gaps closing down, look at Shazin Reza. Shazin Reza is on a roll. He's on a revenge tour. If you want to remember what happened in the first two races in the Hololive GT3, he was on pole position at Fuji, but due to some of his teammates' blocking, he lost out a win and second place and had to settle for third. In Tsukuba, he tried to go for an aggressive strategy, but really didn't work out to his favor, but he still managed to finish inside the podium position. So obviously Shazrin has a lot of work to do to try to win for Himimori Luna. And if you wanted to know right now, he has already scored 2 wins for Luna in Formula Hololive. He has already have 5 wins for Himimori Luna in Hololive GT3, and right now he's jointly tied with Putri Farakamal for most wins in Hololive GT3 for a single Hololive member. Putri Farakamal at the time drove for Yukana Lamy, won 5 of 12 races. Shazin Reza has won 5 races for Himimori Luna. He's looking for his 6th.
Let's see if Shazin Reza can break that tie, and looking right now, Fumi has managed to blitzkrieg Mikolev right now at the straight, I believe. So there is, I believe, actually no, wait, hold on. No, Mikolev is only like 0.1 seconds away, so there could be more. And hold on, wait. Mikolev just stole the position back from Fumi, and there's a lot going on. Okay.
There has been a lot going on. Just wanted to recap. Fumi has tried to find a way past Mikolev there, tried to overtake at the hairpin there at turn 10, and then Mikolev having a good exit off of the hairpin there. We do want to mention that you need to have a good exit of the hairpin to try to make a move on turn 11. Then that is what Mikolev had done. That's a smart racing move there from Mikolev, sacrificing the hairpin for the long straight for you to get back on that Nissan. So right now, Mikolev has got some very, very good race car, got some very good intelligence and knowledge, very good stuff. That's quite the elite driving, and I am not making this up.
However, is that going to be enough to push Mikolev from 15th and shoot up into the standings? Because at the moment, obviously he's in 15th right now, so there's going to be a lot of work done, needed to be done in order to gain some serious points, but that is possible. The race is still young, I believe, as we are on lap 6, I believe.
Well, we're on lap 5 actually. We only have completed 4 laps, and you can see here the gap was around 1.3 seconds between Shazin Reza and Mead actually. And right now we have the guy in second place catching up to the race leader. The guy in second place is gonna try to break the record for most wins for a single Hololive member and the most wins in Hololive GT3 period. He's gonna try to break records in this race, and let's see if he can do so. And also, just wanted to mention to you, there has been a driver coming into the pits, and that's Wallace Harto.
It might be a bit too early to pit at the moment, as we are only on lap 6 now. So that's solid, like, I'm gonna do my math on 36 laps to go without I'm hoping that he doesn't miscalculate his fuel. And Fumi has also gone into the pits, so
and speaking of,
definitely...
Yeah, the Nissans are gonna try to gamble. Yeah, I also wanted to mention to you that Mikolev had just set the fastest lap of the race outright, and is currently chasing all the other drivers in the field. And speaking of all the drivers chasing, Shazrin is actually not far behind me right now, who is currently in the lead. Oh, you can see here Shazrin tried to make a move down the inside of turn 4, but I think he overshot it. And right now he's gonna have to try again against me.
I'm watching the gap right now. It's around 16 seconds in the back for Suharto to get at Miyamoto, so I'm really hoping that they calculated their fuel right. This is a bit too early to be comfortably pitting.
And right now there's a battle between the Hondas inside the top 3. Just wanted to mention to you that it's almost a second separating first and third. But right now Shazrin is slightly losing touch to Meat once again, or was it Meat getting way faster than Shazrin at the moment? And right now Liu is not far behind. Now we have both Malaysians in second and third. They're both chasing each other. And speaking of our drivers chasing each other, look at Gibbens and Bauer. They're in the championship battle. They may be for fourth and fifth right now, but in the context of a championship, every point counts. So right now they're currently racing for whatever they have. And speaking of racing for whatever they have, look at Salomon currently in 6th place and Fabio Mendes in 7th.
I didn't see Fabio Mendes. Actually, that was probably from a pit, but Fabio Mendes has been doing excellent with his debut in the Hololive GT3. Kudos to him for taking over the Zeke Wimberley in for the drivers.
Yes, true. Now, a bit of a context here. We have seen some driver departures here. In the Okami Mio car, the longtime driver for the Okami Mio car, I think the most experienced in the field for Okami Mio, Andrew Rakhimbayev, has said that he will leave. Have said that he would leave the series after June. Now, of course, this month is July, and there have been a replacement. Zeke Wimberley is now in that Okami Mio car, and he's scheduled to race tomorrow in the Split B race. And right now that left the Koyori car open, and the driver taking that ride just so happened to be Fabio Mendes. And speaking of current gaps here at the moment, the gaps have currently ebbed and flowed, and right now it has ebbed for Liu, and it is now flowed for Shazrin. And you can see here Shazrin really getting close to me. Me is currently a bit slow on the exit of in the middle of the corner. Shazrin was tempted to try to overtake in the middle of the corner. I have to think otherwise they will be crashing. And right now, let's see if Shazrin can have a very good exit off of turn 10. But right now the gas haven't really closed. So right now it's a decent exit, but it's not going to be enough for an overtake.
There seems to be a little bit of a stalemate going on, at least in the front rows. As they get close, they might overshoot it or just not choose to overtake, and it's just kind of a little bit of a mutual assured destruction with the potential of crashes.
And currently looking into the back of the field here, we have Turner, Kayumov, and Mikolev. Right now we are looking into drivers who might pit or might not pit, and right now we are not seeing any new drivers coming into the pit lane. Maybe, and looking at Rim Olgo, is currently setting his personal best lap time 152.944. Now for the Subaru car, it's one of 4 winners in the 2022 Motegi races in the regular season. Now back then it was the Subaru car, the Matsuri car, the Watame car, and the Aki Rosenthal car, which have seen victories here in Motegi. Speaking with Gonzar to have just pitted, and it has now set the fastest lap of the race, 152.165. The chase is real for the 2 Nissans at the back.
That is true, and for a Nissan to set the best lap for this incredibly corner-based track is quite impressive. But I'm with the 14-second gap, even if they do play pit, the gap might actually, no, it probably wouldn't be too big. But I'm still very concerned for the Nissans in the back.
And looking into John Mee, we have seen reports that he has been struggling on some of the high-speed corners here. So right now, what Shazrin needs to do is that he needs to basically time the pass correctly to basically get very close to Mee. As you can see here, he was very slow exiting the S, and he was basically vulnerable from Shazrin coming into turn 9. But due to some of the impatience that Shazrin had at the moment, Mee can breathe a bit of that, breathe a bit more easily. And speaking of breathing a bit more easily at the moment here, some gaps are opening up. Right now for Daniel Bauer, the gap is opening up between Bauer and Gibbons. You can see here more drivers coming into the pits. Here it comes, Gruffin Wheatley, Kurwisha. They are the next drivers to come into the pits, and they just so happen to be Nissans.
The Nissans are really, I'm more comfortable with them pitting now because I'm pretty sure that their fuel should be enough, but it seems that the 2 Holux drivers are peeling into the pits, so this should be a valuable time for Suharto and Fumi to just start speed and snag up position.
Okay, anyways, looking into the order here at the moment, Fumi is currently about to exit the final corner here, and you can see here, it's a bit battered, but right now he's trying his absolute best. And right now, Fumi is just coming down into the main straight here, not actually far behind from Croatia, so it just shows you that currently the undercut strategy is the way to go. Now, just to remind a few people again on what the undercut strategy is, pit early, exit in clean air while your opponents are stuck in traffic, then try to gain as much lap time as possible before they pit, and when they do pit, use the time gain to get ahead of them. And speaking of getting ahead, looking at Fumi ahead of Croatia, he has had warmer tires and a pretty prepped car, so Fumi has actually jumped Croatia. So remember, Croatia was actually inside the top 10, and right now Fumi is in the thick of things, battling inside for the top spots now. People have been writing off of him let's say if he's going to be able to catch up to the front, but with his master stroke of his strategy, he's actually in contention to maybe steal a few more positions.
Potentially, they managed to snag Croatia's position, and if they just start gaining better and better lap times, I do believe that because they weren't able to beat both of them while they were in the pits, which is dangerous for an undercut strategy, as long as they gain more time, that it should be fine cruising for Fumi.
Just wanted to mention to you, right now it was at a 16-second gap between Suharto and Miyamoto, and right now the gap has closed down to 11 seconds. So right now, with the undercut strategy working very well here on the track, that's pretty difficult to overtake on this corner-dependent track. So obviously, some of the drivers are actually tempted to pit right now, but thinking about it, if they pit now, the tires are definitely going to struggle at the end of the race, basically becoming sitting ducks at that point. So right now, they need to really weigh in on their options here about whether or not they want to pit now and struggle later, or pit later and have the better car at the end.
It all depends on the aggression level of the driver, basically, because if you have an aggressive car, I'd say pit later, do an overcut strategy and snag up all the free positions from the worn out cars. But if you're a little more cautious, I'd say pit now and secure yourself a spot later.
Okay, that's good analysis here. And right now, looking at the top 3 spots, it's now getting back up to being spicy. And right now, looking at the speed traps coming into turn 11, 245 kilometers an hour, which should roughly translate to about 140, 150 miles per hour. So it's still pretty fast down the backstretch. So anyways, Shazrin is still trying to catch John Mead here. He is faster than Mead by about 0.3 of a second here, as you can see here. And right now, more drivers coming into pit lane. As you can see here, Suri Kayamov is the next driver to coming into the pits, as well as Kamen Riba. That's all 6 Nissans coming in to serve their pit stops.
Alright, as you said, I believe that's actually no, I messed up the words. No, Mendez has not pitted. I was about to say all of Holix has pitted for some reason. But speaking of pitting, Suharto has gone back into the pits for its second pit stop.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Suharto have definitely not aced the call, as does Fumi. Oh dear. We did mention that... Oh dear.
I told it. I knew that the fuel wouldn't be enough. I knew it. They pitted too early.
Which is a bit of a shame here for the Nissans, at least for some of them. But for the other competitors like Wheatley, Croatia, Kayamov, and Riba, which pitted later than who pitted later than the other drivers, they might still have a chance. For Suharto and Fumi, they tried to gamble and they lost. But right now, what about the other 4 Nissans? Let's just pay attention to their current advancements.
You can definitely hope, if you're a Nissan trying to do an undercut, now's a very good time to do it, as you should be able to fuel your car up enough so that you won't have to pit later. So, if you want to take that gamble, you can go ahead.
And looking into the current order as it stands, the top 3 have actually reeled back in. And you can see here 4th, 5th, 6th are catching up into the top 3 of the order here. And you can see here Mead and Sheldon Reza are currently losing a bit of touch there to Liu. Liu's losing touch to Bauer Gibbons. Right now it's Lexus and Honda train here between Mead and Miyamoto. Actually, no, it's just me and Mikola. Miyamoto is on a league of his in the league of her own. But right now, it's not for the good reason, because right now she's pretty behind.
I mean, if you're just kind of cruising along with no conflict, you'll just kind of be unnoticed. It's fine. It's a cover-up.
So right now we still have much of this race to cover. We are about we have just passed around the quarter mark of this race. As you can see here, Mendes doing very well, as you mentioned, doing exceptionally well in that Koyori Honda. He has done wonders for Koyori, something that Zeke Wimberley couldn't do. But then again, he did very well for Okami Mio, so obviously grass is greener on the other side. So anyways, back onto the racing product here right now. Currently inside the top 5, we have Bauer and Gibbons in 4th and 5th. And Gibbons is actually catching up to Bauer.
Yeah, I am looking at the gaps right now. It's about 0.7 right now. So I believe it was around a 1 second gap last I knew. So Gibbons is slowly managing to outpace Bauer right now. And I think Bauer is losing time on Rilu. So I don't think Bauer has the pace to really stay in 4th for much longer.
And right now we have confirmation that Wheatley is gaining a lot of positions on Miyamoto. Now Miyamoto is currently having a 4.2 second gap here. You can see here Shazin Reza finally coming into the pits. I think he has measured the lap times here, and I think he has done enough. So right now Shazin Reza coming into the pits from 4th place, and right now Shazin Reza is going to be the first Honda, the first non-Nissan to have his car serviced.
I am actively checking the everything else right now. It seems nobody else has peeled in the pits, at least yet anyway, and now is the time for the Nissan gamble to really pay off as the Nissan slowly gain their positions back.
And as you can see here, Shazin have just exited the pit lane here ahead of the 6 Nissans who have already pitted some once, some twice. So right now, Shazin is doing pretty well there to try to consolidate the race lead. And let's see if he can gain a lot of time. Let's see if Mead and Liu will respond.
Looking at the gap, I say that a lot. It's around 2 seconds, so Liu has a lot of catching up to do, and I believe that they're slowly losing time, so Mead should be safe at least for now.
But of course he really needs to think about pitting soon, because right now, as you've seen with the Nissan drivers coming in for the undercut, they're doing very well here. And right now the gap between Wheatley and Miyamoto was like 19 seconds. It's now currently at 17. But that's probably just down to Miyamoto's really struggling with the Watame car. So anyways, looking into the current order here, Mead, Liu, Bauer, Gibbons, Salmon Man, and all the other drivers here, they're doing pretty fine here at the moment, coming into 13 laps complete. Let's see if any of the other Hondas or Lexus cars are going to come into the pits.
I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. They seem pretty content. I think that they're going, at least most of them are going for an overcut strategy, which is basically gain as much position as possible in the late game, and then basically pit and then speed through everyone while they have used tires, which is a simplified version of it. There's a lot more probably.
And right now, Shazin Reza is currently catching up to Miyamoto as well as Wheatley. And as you can see here, Wheatley and Shazin Reza's current difference in lap times are pretty negligible. And as you can see here, if you want to look at their Sector 2 and Sector 3 lap times here, they're actually pretty okay. As you can see here, Wheatley is a bit only slightly slower than Shazrin, but really just shows you on the differences that they have. So right now, we have the gaps opening up between Meat and Liu. Liu is actually losing touch to the race leader.
But as long as they keep second place, that should be fine. But with Bauer kind of lacking in race pace at the moment to catch up to Rilu, so it's a pretty comfy spot for them right now. They're playing very passively.
And again, we wanted to mention to you that in looking at Mykolaiv, he is actually catching up to Turner. Turner is exiting turn 10 at the moment here with a bit of catching up to do. As you can see here, Mykolaiv is actually getting closer to Turner. We'll update you on the advancements of the number 35 Honda later on. But for now, looking into the current gaps here at the moment, no drivers for for Lexus or Honda have decided, yeah, it's time to pit. Because right now, they are not pitting just yet.
Going back on the topic of Mykolaiv, it seems Mykolaiv is the true underdog, because I believe that they started outside the points. They're currently in 10th at the moment, which is quite surprising, and they're planning on stealing 9th from Michael Turner. So I'd say Mykolaiv is a surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but a very competent driver at the moment who might be able to steal a couple positions through his clever tactics.
Oh, and we just wanted to mention to you that Mykolaiv, the gap here between Turner is only about 0.4 of a second and is dropping down even more. He's having a very good exit there off of turn 3. Will he make a move down the inside to turn 4? He's not close enough. He might think of a move, but not close enough is the answer. And right now, Mykolaiv has to settle for 10th place at the moment. He'll have to try again later.
But we'll definitely be watching that. That is a very interesting development that is, well, developing right now at this moment.
Okay, so just wanted to check back. We have not seen much pit lane activity since Sheldon and Reza have coming to the pits. So just wanted to check back onto the current situation here. Leo is really losing touch to John Mead at the moment. Mead is really running riot with the race lead. He's looking very comfortable here. And Sheldon Reza isn't actually closing too much on Miyamoto because he might think of saving tires until the end of this race. He did commit to the undercut strategy. Let's see if he can master that tire wear as well as some would hope. And speaking of the pace advantage, Mead 152.688, pretty there on the lap time front. As you can see here, Reed is actually 1.2 seconds slower. So definitely coming into the clutches of Bauer and Gibbons.
Yeah, speaking of Bauer and Gibbons, it seems Bauer is closing out on Rilu right now with currently about a 0.5, and then Gibbons is also closing in, except on Bauer. So it seems we have a little trifecta going on right now when it comes to battles. Everyone's kind of at stake here.
And looking into the battle packs at the moment is the battle for second place. Liu, Bauer, and Gibbons. Salaman and Mendes are on their battle on their own. 5th and 6th, two of the new Hondas that are currently racing in their first season in Hololive GT3. Now, Fabio Mendes representing Hakui Kori. If we want to talk about the origin uniform, these are the uniforms that have been used since Nonstop Story in 2020 and have seen members get new variants of these uniforms ever since. And if you want to remember, at the end of 2022, all of the Hall of members have been granted access to new Origin Idol uniforms. And these Idol uniforms did serve as the basis for the cars you see in Hololive GT3 today. And just wanted to tell you a bit of a story coming into today. The biggest surprise that we have had has been ASCII. Now, there has not been a change in scheme, in color schemes, or car manufacturers for an individual Hololive member. Not until ASCII, of course, when ASCII had her visual update, her 4th outfit. And speaking of changes, Meat is currently in the pits. Well, let's talk about that later. And right now, ASCII has switched from a vest top to a corset top, black to white, with a more purplish color at the back. So there has been a lot of changes to the ASCII car, and right now it's for the better. As you can see here, Salaman is currently definitely inconsistent battles inside the top 5. And speaking of John Mead, he's currently inside the pits. Let's see where Shazareza is at the moment.
Shazareza is currently at 12th, and I guess it's slowly gaining on Miyamoto, but it's just kind of a negligible pace right now, and they'll definitely need to strive to do a little bit better. And speaking of pace at the moment, the pace between Rilu and Bauer, I believe, has shortened. At one point it was a 0.4, which is pretty close, so I'd watch out for that development, as that's a pact between 1 through 3rd on who's going to take the race lead, at least for now.
And speaking of current developments at the moment, we have had confirmation Mead has done the overcut strategy to perfection. Really had some consistent lap times here, not losing a lot of pace there on his first stint, and now coming into the second stint, he is now ahead of Shazra and Reza. They're still on a stalemate here. They may not have cancelled each other's strategy, but right now the strategy is looking to be on Mead's favor, because Mead just have that fresher tires.
Yeah, Mead is currently in a very nice position right now. Has better tires at the moment, and Shazza Reza does not have the pace. I believe Wheatley has managed to Wheatley. Hold on, was it? Hold on, I gotta think back. I don't think Wheatley. Has he had a better pace, or like I could have sworn it was like 15 seconds, or was I taking?
Okay, just a bit of a confirmation here that right now Wheatley and Mead and Shazan Reza have gained on Miyamoto, while Wheatley is slower than the two leading Hondas of Mead and Shazran. Wheatley is doing very decently, and right now he might be able to steal a few more positions. And looking at Bauer here, Bauer is still having his car serviced. Looking at Gruffin Wheatley, Gruffin is now just exiting the final corner. He might be able to steal a few positions from Bauer. Bauer might still need to warm up the tires. And right now, here's Gruffin Wheatley. He might be able to actually be within striking range of Bauer. Remember, Bauer is battling inside the top 5. Gruffin Wheatley is now just behind Bauer, so he might be in the top 5 position. So right, and speaking of battles here, here's a battle between the 16 and 66. Here's a battle between Yozo Ramel on the inside and Kazama Iroha on the outside. Will he try to hang around the outside? That might be a ballsy move, and if he can do it correctly, he might just be able to get it done right. And right now, the battle is not over. Here is another battle at the back straight here. Will he make a dive on down the inside? The answer is going to be yes. He's going to try his luck here at turn 4. Going to try to shuffle out Bauer, and it looks like Wheatley might just be able to get his undercut strategy to perfection. He's now up to 11th.
I find it really, really funny that the person with no points beat the person that was in title contention. That's really, really funny, at least to me. So Wheatley is gonna hopefully get his first points this series, and also just beat Bauer. That's a great accomplishment right there.
And
really
right now,
sticking it to the. Oh, yeah, continue.
Yeah. Right now, Wheatley is doing very well here. He's currently probably net top 5 after the good strategy call. He was on the outside ranges in the top 10. He was around 7, 8, 9, and he's now currently inside the top 5. So right now, the undercut strategy is working brilliantly for some of the Nissan drivers here. A bit of a commiseration for Suharto and Fumi, and right now Fumi's season of struggle continues. Of course, it's probably a championship hangover. I mean, Fumi hasn't had the best of performances at Motegi in general. If you remember, Fumi did participate at Motegi in 2022, and if I do recall correctly, he did spun out of the race at one point on the last year's Motegi race. It ended in a heartbreak, and right now it's still agonizing for Fumi to currently still stay at the back. But of course, Fumi had to walk so that others could run. And right now, Wheatley, Karisha, Kayumov, and Riba are running with it.
I think it's obvious that Fumi was just stealing the show so much, so now he's taking it easy so that the other people have a chance to show off. You know, that's gotta be the only reasonable answer that could be why Fumi hasn't been performing as well, personally.
And speaking of the gaps here right now, Mendes and Salomon are currently in a battle of their own. It's currently a battle for who gets to be in the final podium positions here. Mendes is in 4th place. Salomon is in 3rd. Yes, they'll have to pit at one point in this race. And speaking of which, we are coming into the halfway portion of this race. Once we get into lap 22, we have officially passed the halfway portion of the season. And right now, Liu currently leading this race. He's doing very well to hang on to his pace differences, and you can see here personal best lap time for Liu 1:52.940, but Gibbens has a 52.8, and that's not even his fastest lap time. So currently Liu is currently trying to hang on for dear life in that race lead and try to ace the overcut strategy to full effect. Now, if we do want to remember, the overcut strategy can be used for you to steal a lot of position, as you don't need to spend a lot of time refueling your cars, changing your tires and all that stuff. Speaking of which, drivers coming into the pits is Takagi Mikulev and Michael Turner.
Anyway, if you were recalling with the time tables, Gibbons was around a 2 seconds from Liu. That has dropped down to about a 0.45, which is kind of embarrassing. Liu is, as you said, is hanging on for dear life at the moment, trying to protect 1st place from the bloodhound Callum Gibbons. So it's a rough ride right now.
It's a rough ride for Liu. He's going to try to hang on for dear life. He's going to have to try to put up an Orca level of defense here against high-spec machine. Of course, Lexus is already a high-spec machine, but representing a high-spec virtual YouTuber that is Roboco, that's going to be a pretty daunting task for Liu to try to hang on to the race lead, especially given that the VTuber Gibbons is representing, Roboco, is already a veteran in Hololive in her own right. Like, obviously, over 5 years spent in Hololive so far, compared to, let's say, 1.5 to 2 for Sakamata Chloe, which Liu is currently representing. So right now, you can see here, Gibbons having a pretty decent exit there off of the main straight here. But remember, the Lexus cars have a pretty decent amount of horsepower, but their straight line speed is a bit lacking due to their increased weight as well. Now remember, the Hondas have the lowest amount of horsepower, but since they're the lightest out of any of the cars in Hololive GT3 so far, Liu is going to be pretty agile in the corners as well as having a pretty decent straight line speed. Now, of course, we do want to mention that the Hondas are harder to control.
And you can see that kind of lack. Oh wait, hold on. I'm clueless on car manufacturer. I should just move on. Anyway, Liu is once again losing touch once again, barely holding Gibbons off right now, kind of on the skin of their teeth, just hoping that Gibbons stays away. You know,
Okay, it's just a bit of an added information here at the moment. Just wanted to recap on what these manufacturers are. You can see the purples on the side of the driver names here. They drive Nissans. Now, the Nissan drivers are representing Hololive members who have their vest top for their Origin Idol uniforms. Like, for example, Fumi for Tokinosora. Tokinosora uses the vest top, so Fumi drives a Nissan. Now, the Nissans have very good straight line speed, but they are pretty much about in the corners. And also, they are pretty heavy, so the straight line is going to be pretty good. Straight line capabilities are going to be pretty good for the Nissan, but for cornering, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for the Nissan to cope on the corners. It's the opposite for the Lexus here. It's only slightly lighter than the Nissan, but due to the weight distribution, as well as how the car is built, is well suited towards cornering, but due to the car only having 540 horsepower over the Nissan 600, the straight line deficit is there for the Lexus cars to see. And for the Hondas, they may have the least amount of horsepower, but they're very light, and their weight is shifted towards the rear due to its mid-engine configuration. So they're pretty decent on slow, and they're pretty decent on medium to fast corners, almost matching the Lexus, and they have advantage on slow corners. and because of the weight, they actually have pretty good straight line speed, actually almost matching the Nissans. But of course, they're harder to control. So that's that. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the Lexus cars are based on the Hololive members wearing Honda tops for their origin ID uniforms, and the Honda drivers are representing the Hololive members who have corset tops for their origin uniforms.
Looking at the timetables right now, nothing really much is happening in terms of battles. I guess Suharto is slowly catching up to Rita. It was like, I don't know, 18 seconds. It's now like a 0.5. So Suharto might gain a little bit. They're basically fighting for the silver spoon after Suharto tragically messed up their pitting time and everything. It was unfortunate. So.
It's unfortunate, but racing is racing. Now, I have to note that you did mention that it's just crazy that we have a driver from outside the points consistently beating the other driver who's in title contention. I mean, it's one of those things that happen in sports. Like you have the underdogs suddenly showing up against the top level competitors. And speaking of top level competitors, Callum Gibbens is currently penning away from second place. He knew that he couldn't be able to catch up to Relay anytime soon. And speaking of which, you have passed the halfway portion of this race. The second act of this race is now finally underway. And now Callum Gibbens pitting. The battle is on between himself and Bauer. And currently Bauer is currently on to the back straight. And he's actually lost out to Gruffin Wheatley because look at the gaps. It's now at 2.5 seconds.
This is a little silly at the moment. Bauer has just been losing touch. Even in around 4th place, they were slowly losing race pace. So this is a very unfortunate incident for Bauer.
But for Callum Gibbons, is a bit of an opposite. He's still within striking distance of the Split 8 title here. As you can see here, he's only just 3.4 seconds behind Shazrin Reza, and currently Gibbons have the tire advantage because he has pitted very much later than usual. Now we have had confirmation that we have 5 drivers who have yet to pit. Ray Liu, Christoph Salmaman, Fabio Mendes, Raja Kaczynski, and Rim Olgor. These drivers have yet to pit, so you might need to watch out for their advancements.
Yeah, and then the undercutters will definitely try to snag, but with their position, it shouldn't be too bad, and they should be able, with their superior tires and basically their superior tires and hopefully driving skills, they should be taking those positions up quickly if they plan it right.
And currently Olgor in 5th place, Kaczynski 4th, Mendes 3rd. Salman is definitely losing touch to really up front. It was at 7 seconds, now dropped down to 8.6. The call might be for Salman to come into the pits, and right now it's not so for him. And right now he's still hanging on to 2nd place. Now if you remember what happened in Fuji in Hololive GT3, he basically played roadblock to drivers behind, even his own Honda teammate Shazrin Reza. So Salman might just do the same for Mendes, Kaczynski, and Olgor. So currently he's in 2nd place, driving for a very surprising car, the ASCII Honda. Let's see how he advances.
So far the advance might not be enough with Mendes at a 0.4 second gap, which is very, very dangerous in levels. There could be an overtake coming soon, and assuming none of them go into the pits. So I'd watch out. The battle in the front is definitely raging, at least for the battle of 2nd place.
If you want to do an overcut strategy right now is the time for you to pit, because right now the tires are really starting to wear for some of the drivers inside the top 5. Remember, the top 5 drivers have yet to pit in this race. Salman is losing a lot of time to Reliu, and right now it's not looking good for the Gen 0 driver. And you can see here Mendes, Kaczynski, and Olgor are really sniffing on the gaps as they're getting closer.
Yeah, especially Olgor right now, who seems to be hunting down Kaczynski. It's a 0.2 second gap. Actually, keeps on switching on and off, but it's just pandemonium within the front row at the moment.
And currently Gruffin Wheatley, given that Bauer is now dropped down to 10th place, and Wheatley is currently sandwiched between Gibbons and Bauer. Wheatley is currently in the net top 5 positions unless something crazy happens to Wheatley and Crystal Salaman. And you can see here, we have had confirmation that we have had a few drivers coming into the pits, Salaman and Olgor. That leaves only 3 drivers who have yet to pit. Let's see where they end up come the end of this pit stop.
Olgor didn't pit, only Salaman pitted.
Oh yeah, apologies here, because we're seeing some mailing in the standings here. We thought that Olgor came into pit. Apologies here. So anyways, me and Sheldon Reza coming into the main straight, as well as Callum Gibbons. Wheatley might come into the straight as well. Salaman is still having his car being stationary. Croatia is actually not far behind, as well as Daniel Bauer. Salaman might just be able to exit in 7th place, but with a very fresh tire, he might just be able to consolidate 6th, maybe 5th place. He might be able to score another top 5.
Yeah, but they do have to beat Bauer first. That managed to get ahead while he was pitted just barely. It's a 2-second gap between them and Bauer, and with Bauer kind of losing race pace, it shouldn't be too long until Salaman really closes that gap up.
Okay, anyways, let's look back into the 4 drivers who have yet to pit. Olgor is currently at the back end of Kaczynski, on the rear end of Yusuke Choko, if you want to say that. Coming into the exit of the hairpin here, let's see if Olgor can really steal a good amount of lap time here. There was around 6:10. It's now dropped down to maybe 5/10, maybe 4/10 if he's lucky. But right now it's currently opening up between Kaczynski and Olgor. And right now, let's see at the end of this lap who is going to pit.
It's probably going to be a lot. It's more than halfway across the race, and the top 4 drivers have yet to pit, so they're definitely going to want to do that soon, especially with fuel. Wait, hold on. Oh shoot! People are finally going into pits. Okay, Mendez and Olgor have been confirmed to go be pitting at this current moment.
So right now the battle is between Salaman and Olgor and Mendez, and currently Salaman is barreling down the back straight. The gap is currently 3.1 seconds between Bauer and Salaman. But right now, let's take a look on currently Salaman's position. Salaman is going back into the oval portion of the track, coming into turns 12, 13, and 14. He's going to be exiting the corner just like that. And right now, Mendez have exited the pit lane, and right now it's going to be at the advantage of both Mendez and okay, never mind. It's actually Fabio Mendez's advantage. He actually managed to overcut Salaman, and that's a Koyori car inside the fringes of the top 5.
Oh my goodness gracious! Finally! I am an assistant, kind of at heart. I am an assistant, kind of at heart. I was the first driver of the Hagiri Koyori car. I am so happy to see it succeed.
And speaking of which, there's a battle between Karyumov and Olgor.
That's not a speaking of which, but still, there is a battle between Karyumov and Olgor, the leader of Hololive versus a duck at the moment. But it seems to have sizzled down as Karyumov managed to, I believe, keep the position, if I'm not mistaken, instead of losing it, which is very nice for the leader of Hololive, the dark leader, you know.
Yeah, true that. Anyways, the founder of Hololive, Laplace Darkness, we do want to mention to you that Laplace is the founder, but the one currently leading Hololive is Takane Louis, which is actually the driver in front of Karyumov. The Roboco representing Takane Louis in 10th place. Now, obviously, the Takane Louis car have seen a lot of support, even Louis herself. So obviously, Croatia is going to probably use that to his advantage, and we have confirmation that Kaczynski have finally come into the pits. And right now, we have some drivers currently coming out of their cars, coming out of the final corners here. Now they're coming out of their cars. But right now, Kaczynski is still having his car stopped. And right now, the immediate battle is between Gibbons and Sheldon Reza. Look at these two going side by side. Gibbons might be able to go around the inside. It's a battle between the 2 championship contenders. And right now, Gibbons is going to try his best to try to find a way past. And right now, it's not forthcoming. And right now, only one driver have yet to pit. And it's Ri Liu, and it's currently on the losing battle.
Ridley should pit like right now. It's a 30-second gap at the moment. You have to pit eventually, and you're probably going to be losing pace. So this is a great time to pit. You'll lose barely any position due to how far ahead you are at the moment, aka 30 seconds. Great time to get your car refilled, tires replaced, everything else, you know?
And speaking of Bowser, Kaczynski had managed to get ahead of Croatia, but only just here. You can see here in the corners there, the Nissan's absolutely struggling in the corners, but right now they're doing very well on the straight. Will there be a dive bomb? The answer would be yes, but it won't be enough for Croatia. Croatia has to back off. Olgor and Kayumov currently in a battle of their own as well. The battle at the back is still heating up here. The race is not over for multiple other drivers here. If Ryu does want to pit, and he does pit right now, I think it might be a little bit too late for Ryu. But right now, let's take a look on where Mead is. It is just exiting turn 10, and Ryu might just be able to consolidate the race lead if he doesn't need to fuel that much.
Ryu truly is on a race against the clock at the moment as he's in the pit lane. Mead is probably guaranteed a net first place unless Ryu somehow spends a miracle amount of time in the pits, but for now Mead seems very comfortable in taking first place from Ryu.
And yes, you're right. You can see here Ryu is just exiting the pit lane. He's not just going to lose first place. He's going to lose second, third, and fourth. But remember, freshest tires out of anyone so far. He might just have the aces, so might want to pay attention on that. And with all the drivers coming into the pits, let's take a look onto the progress chart on who gains the most and who loses the most. Looking at Fabio Mendes though, he started 11th, now up to 7, also as well as Mikolev. Mikolev started last and is now up to 14.
I'm sorry to my man Saharto, who lost. I think if I can't read, I think that's 11.
That's 13
I'm sorry,
positions.
the quality for me is really 13 positions from Saharto, going from 14. So that was like third if I did my math right, which I probably didn't.
He was the fastest in qualifying. He started 4th and he's now dropped down to 17th, which is a very big side if we want to be honest. But obviously this is racing, and obviously anything it can happen in racing. And speaking of the possibility of lap cars, everyone is definitely on pace, so definitely there won't be any disturbances of lap cars in the way.
Looking at the the speed chart, I'm just gonna call it the speed chart, even though it's not right. But looking at the speed chart right now, it seems that the battle for first place isn't over, as Mead, Shazarredza, and Gibbons are still in contention. I believe there's a little less than half the race to go at the moment. So there's definitely probably going to be some fighting going on within that top spot, maybe.
And looking into the pace differences between the top 4 drivers here, looking at Ryu, he has the fastest final sector of his race so far. Everyone is setting 41s. Ryu is setting 40s on that final sector. So Ryu is actually catching the drivers in front. So right now he might just be able to consolidate third place after all, and that actually might play in Shazrin's advantage, because remember, 175 over 130, if Gibbons actually does go down to 4th place, means that Shazrin is gonna be ever closer to Gibbons coming into the final race, split race at Sepang.
That's assuming Gibbons doesn't catch up to Shazarredza first, but for the most part it does seem like a stalemate, leaving a consistent 0.7 to a full second behind Shazarredza on average. So for now, if Gibbons can catch up to Shazarredza before Ryu can catch up to them, that would be huge for Gibbons, really reinforcing the shifted. Oh shoot! Olgor and Kayumov had a little battle there. Olgor has consolidated 11th place as Kayumov has dropped down a little bit. Okay, I should stop.
Okay, good to know that Olgor is currently stolen a good amount of positions there And right now, the battle between the top 4 is currently very much alive. Really representing the Stinky Orca, Sakamata Chloe, also janitor for Hololive, who also refuses to take a shower. That's why we're calling her Stinky. Anyways, Gibbens is catching up to Shazrin Reza. Shazrin Reza is actually losing just a slight against Mead. You can see here the difference between the lap time. 153, 175 for me. Shazrin Reza is currently about 2 to 3 tenths slower. Gibbons is actually a tenth faster than Shazrin Reza. 152, 229 for Liu. It's not the fastest lap of the race, but it's damn well close to it. As you can see here, he might just be able to steal position away from Gibbons.
Liu's car is only fueled by the most potent Orca body odor, which is why it's performing so well.
Which is a big kusa, if you want to call him that. But anyways, back onto the race, and you can see here Liu catching up to Gibbons by a huge margin here. You can see here Gibbons is really trying his best to attack Shazrin Reza, but right now it's not forthcoming just yet, and the gap just keeps closing. Looking at the other battle here at the back, right now here's a battle inside the top 5. Gruff and Wheatley have now lost a good amount of time, and that's gonna mean the battle's going to expand to what should be 9th place. Look at Wheatley's rear view at the moment, 4 cars behind.
That's definitely a little alarming. You could see potentially a double overtake here, like you saw with Mendez earlier, which probably won't happen sadly, but you should see some overtaking around that area due to the sheer amount of cars and traffic going on right here.
They may not be lap cars, but there's going to be a lot of drivers in their own battle formations here. You can see here at the exit of the hairpin, and you can see here Bauer tries to catch up to Wheatley, but I don't think it will be enough. Mendez is slowly catching up. And speaking of drivers catching up, look at the gap between Liu and Gibbons here. And right now, John Mee is still uncontested at the top of the standings. You can see here Gibbons going side by side.
Gibbons going side by side with, or was going side by side anyway. Big sad, really trying his best to fight against the clock right now. It's really slowly closes in. It was like a 2-second gap, now it's at around 0.5 tenths of a second, so big yikes.
A big yikes to count Gibbons as well. And Shazrin Reza, he's still losing a good amount of time against me. If you look at the previous lap time here, Shazrin has been half a second slower than me, which is pretty alarming for the driver in second place, looking for the record-breaking win for him or Luna, and right now it's not there at the moment, though he does have the most wins for any virtual YouTuber in both series. In Hololive GT3, he's still tied with Farah Kamal, and right now looking into the battle for the lead has now become a battle for second. As you can see, Shazrin is holding back Gibbons so that Liu might be able to steal a position away from Gibbons, and let's see if Liu can actually catch up. But looking into the gaps, it has just opened up just a little bit.
That could have just been a blitz for all we know, as the gap seems to have kind of stagnated around here, at least for now. So it could be saving up the tires or something, but we'll see in the future where if Liu catches up or not.
And looking into the other battles here at the moment, Wheatley is trying to defend very well against Bauer, Mendes, Salman, Kaczynski. Croatia might also be into the mix. You can see here Croatia, Olgor, and Kayamov coming into the battle as well. But right now, looking into the current position inside the points, there are a lot of battles going on here. And speaking of battles here, Liu and Gibbons getting very close between each other, almost too close for comfort. Speaking of too close, Liu might think of a move down the inside, but he has to think otherwise because he's not close enough.
It's only about 4 tenths of a second right now as we speak, and it is getting very, very close for Gibbons, but Gibbons is getting very, very close to Shazrin Reza, so this is getting very intense right now. Liu definitely could be planning something to slowly take over the cars in front of him one by one. lots going on.
He really needs to think of the long game here right now. He has 11 laps to deal with, just over 10 laps to go here in the Motegi 400 Split A race. And as it stands, Liu is catching, still trying to find some space. And as you can see here, he really goes off wide here, and that's gonna mean he's gonna lose a good amount of time. But hopefully he will gain a huge amount of time at the exit of the hairpin. And looking into the times at the moment, it's still 7/10 of a second. It's now dropped down to 6.6 seconds. I don't think it's enough for Liu, but right now it's a race against time and a race against his tires for Liu to get inside the podium positions.
I have full faith in Liu. They're being quite an astonishing driver at the moment. Really, just closing that gap really quickly. Even if they went off wide just a tiny bit right there.
And as you can see here, excuse me, but because Shazin Reza has a very poor exit there off of the final corner, Gibbens is gonna try his luck to make a move down the inside. But this time, Gibbens is gonna be in the move. He's gonna try his luck to attack Shazin Reza on the inside, but that would mean that he's now under pressure from Liu. Look at Liu, because Gibbons is gonna try to attack Shazin Reza at the for turn 1, and now into turns 2 and 3, Liu sniffing for an opportunity.
Liu is really hounding on Gibbons right now. Only got out 4/10 of a second as I speak. Just really giving Gibbons pressure right now, and Liu himself is being pressured by the clock as we speak, as we have 9 laps left to go here on the circuit.
Yeah, in this Motegi 400 Split A race, and you can see here pressure is mounting between Liu at the moment. And you can see here more battles at the back. Wheatley, Bauer, Mendes, Salomon looking for a top 5 finish. He has a pretty fresh tire, but looking to find a way past Mendes. But then again, easier said than done. And now back into the top 4. Gibbons losing, trying to catch up to Shazrin, but it's not going to be enough. Remember, the Hondas have a better straight line speed than the Lexus. And as you can see, let's see if Shazrin is going to be making a mistake off of the final corner again. Let's look at the onboards.
Everyone's kind of having a really nice off the corners right now. No slip-ups, at least so far. But Gibbons does seem to be gaining and then losing and then gaining once again. Shazrin really trying to utilize that straight line speed.
And speaking of which, Gibbons going for a move down the inside. It's the closest he has ever been, and that might shuffle Shazrin Reza off, but with a very good exit speed, that might just be able to give Liu the impetus he needs to make a move down the inside. I think that's the closest he has ever been, but he's not being aggressive enough. Look at Liu. He had to back off there at turns 2 and 3, thinking that he thought that, oh, maybe I'm not close enough. I might crash if I have to continue. But right now, it is a very good opportunity, and I think that Liu is a bit cautious on this one. If you want to, right now, he wants to try to bring in this good result. It's the best result for the Chloe car up to this point in both series if he manages to continue like this.
It does seem to be a little bit too cautious for their own good, really trying not to crash out. But on the flip side, really not gaining the position that he could have gotten, probably, which would probably be trivial in difficulty. So we'll see how this strategy really works out. Could have gained 3rd place, I believe, if he was committed enough, but we'll see if there's a better opportunity.
And right now, will there be better opportunities for Gibbons? Because right now, Shazrin has said that he has been struggling a lot on that final corner. And right now, we were around 9 laps to go here at Motegi in this race. And right now, really is also looking for an opportunity against Gibbons. It is pulling away from 2nd place at the moment. It might just be a comfortable win for the Hachama car. It might be the good win for the Hachama car for the first time since a long while actually. And speaking of which, another battle between Gibbens and Shadowred Reza are brewing. But let's see, because Gibbens actually getting very close there to Shadowred Reza. But Gibbens is having a very shallow exit, and Shadowred is being shuffled off wide. And right now, that's a very poor exit from Gibbens. And now he's under pressure from Ryu so much. But look at Ryu, he's also having a very poor exit there. It's still tense inside the battle for second.
Everyone's just a little bit jumpy and agitated in the front at the moment due to just the sheer amount of pressure that is being applied to these drivers, really testing their willpower and their driving abilities to the max, as the risk of an overtake or a crash is at an extreme, critical risk, I should say.
And speaking of the current permutations here, and as you can see here, the Hachama car have not won a race. And speaking of which, Shawn, and then we have Mendes and Bauer. Mendes are losing position. Now Mendes is going to be under pressure to lose 2 positions himself. And then you can see here, he was being shuffled by Daniel Bauer at turn 4. Bauer was actually on the inside of Mendes at turn 4, and that actually opened up the opportunity for Salomon to steal another position. And now Mendes loses 2 positions. Bauer and Salomon each gain 1.
That's gotta hurt for Mendes, and I'm pretty sure Bauer was in front of Mendes if I wasn't mistaken, but I'll take your word for it. And looking at the gaps, the midfield is just at a mutually assured destruction. An overtake is fairly risky due to the amount of cars that can just pile up on an attacker. So that's basically my report.
So anyways, back onto the current permutations there at the moment. Gibbons is still on the back of Shadowred Reza, but I don't think is enough at the moment. Right now it is slowing down on the front, on basically the battle at the front. And back onto the Hachama car. The Hachama car have not seen a win since last May, when the Hachama car was won by Kizuhara Leo in the Split A race, the Split A race 2 Sepang race at Sepang, where Kizuhara Leo managed to steal a win after strategies and basically had a very good showing in the Hachama car. Now the 2 previous drivers after, the 2 drivers after Kizuhara Leo haven't been seeing much luck in the Hachama car. Ali Khan Astor and Anthony Emanal. Anthony Emanal did very well though, he was in second. And now looking at Bauer and Wheatley, Bauer have actually stolen another position to Wheatley, and now it's the Nissan down to 6th place. Now Wheatley is currently currently is sitting duck. We do warn that if you pit way too early at the end of this race, and right now he's a sitting duck to multiple other drivers.
They did do quite well, but it's just the waiting game for Wheatley, hoping that he can strive off the relentless attackers. And it seems Bauer had something hidden. Or so, oh shoot, speaking of something hidden, Kaczynski managed to do a quote-unquote hidden attack on Mendes, dropping him down to 9th, slowly losing race pace. But back to Bauer. Bauer seemed to be holding back, as he seems to be jumping at the opportunities here in the late game.
And speaking of the late stages of this race, we're about to get into 5 laps to go here in the Motegi 400 Split A race. Gibbons and Shadowred Reza and Leo are currently at a massive stalemate here. It's just gonna be one slip up, and that's the end of the race for some of these drivers. Well, at least the race for 3rd place. And as you can see here, it was 5 seconds actually between me and Shadowred Reza, and now I just noticed that Mead is actually losing some time to Shadowred Reza. You can see here the pace difference between me and Shadowred Reza are currently apparent. So the race for lead, the battle for the race lead is still pretty much on. Look at the amount of time Mead is losing.
They're still under pressure by Shadowred Reza is still under pressure by Gibbons, so an overtake at this stage, especially at the late stage, would be risky, considering that Reza is definitely in a very comfortable position right now, gaining points ahead of his main competitor, Gibbons, Callum Gibbons at the moment. So Shazin Reza might not pounce at this opportunity really, and I think Mead will have a somewhat clear, somewhat comfortable win.
Not exactly a comfortable win because the gaps just keep closing. It was at 5 seconds during the last 2 laps and now dropped down to 3.4 seconds. The pace have now fallen off for John Mead. The first win for the Hachama Honda since May 2022 might have to be on hold just yet. It's currently on ice as currently John Mead is still losing a good amount of time here. Shazin Reza is catching up. Let's take a look at the difference in the lap time. 1:55.350 for Mead and then 1:53.845 for Shazin. Shazin has gained 1.5 seconds on the previous lap alone to John Mead. So that just shows you that currently Mead is currently falling off in terms of pace, and the battle for the race lead is still on.
This is a very unexpected development as there is now basically a battle through 1 through 4. They're basically in their own split at the moment as Bauer is currently around 12 seconds away and there is no chance of him really catching up unless something goes wrong in the front. But this is really interesting, and Shazin Reza is still slowly catching up to John Mead at the moment, which is annoying. And Salomon has managed to pass Wheatley while I wasn't really paying attention. So good on Salomon managing to consolidate 6 and bumping Wheatley down to 7. And Wheatley just seems to be a sitting duck at this point, as you've said.
Yeah, true. But currently, we do want to mention as well that the ASCII Honda is showing up again in this race. I mean, I'm gonna need to tell you this. There is a lot of fun facts. Apart from Shazin Reza catching up to me, the best thing that has happened to ASCII is Scotty. Like, Scotty is the official, currently the illustrator for ASCII for the 4th outfit, which is the current iteration of ASCII. And currently, we should all thank Scotty for the current explosive performances that the ASCII Honda is currently having here at the moment. And right now the gap between Shazin Reza and John Mead have now closed on significantly. He's now dropped down to 1.6 seconds. It was at 3 seconds. It's now dropped down to 1.6. 1:55.942 for Mead, 1:54.288 for Shazin. The race is still pretty much on, and I think we might be seeing some last lap battles here at the moment. Will Mead be able to hold on to get Hachama her first win in Hololive GT3 since 2022 last May, or will Shazin Reza have his record-breaking 6 wins for him and Luna in Hololive GT3? Let's wait and see.
This is a very, very uncomfortable situation for just about everyone except Rilu is kind of stuck in 4th place, too patient for his own good, and then Gibbens is under stress by Rilu, and then Shazin Reza is under stress by Gibbens, who has tried multiple overtakes, and now Mead is under threat by Shazin Reza as Mead has started to chill down and really lose race pace.
Oh, and you can see here 1.1 seconds the gap between this one and now Kaczynski tries to make a move against Wheatley, and now you can see here Fabio Mendes is gonna try to pull one back against his Hololux teammate here, and now we have Mendes going up to 8th. Wheatley is dropping down like a rock. Remember, sitting duck at the moment, and incidentally he's about to be attacked by a duck.
What an odd convenience, but speaking of that duck is currently about 0.3 of a second away from Wheatley at the moment, which is very concerning, really dropping down. That desperate defense is just not holding up at the moment, and he's just kind of miserable.
Anyways, back into the current situation at the moment. Mead has found some lap time again, but right now Shazin Reza is still faster. Mead has now found that pace once again. He's gonna go back to a 1:55.3, 1:54.7 for Shazin. Remember, he is still faster than Mead by half a second, so we might be seeing some last lap gas, because right now we're at 3 laps to go of this Motegi 400 Split A race.
This is an interesting development, and if that half a second pace holds up and Mead's same pace holds up, that will be about a tenth of a second difference by the last lap. So the final lap is really going to play a key role into this race, I believe.
And just a bit of a check here right now. It's now dropped down to now under a second between Mead and Shadrin Reza. Remember the corners are where Mead might struggle the most. And right now here, the dirty air is also going to try to play a part on this race as well. Remember, you can see here Bauer is slowly catching up to Bauer. And we can see here the gap dropped down to 7.8 seconds, but I think it's too late for him. And for Mead, he's going to try his best to hang on for as long as he can. It's another battle between Kurwisha and Turner. Turner taking advantage of the very early pitters for the Nissans here. As you can see here, you can see that Kurwisha was under pressure from Turner, and Turner's now up to 11th. And now Mead have found some lap time again, and is now pulling a consistent gap between himself and Shazrin. But he still still needs to keep pushing on the chances as we're about to get into this penultimate lap of this race.
As long as Mead can really keep his time at the moment, Mead should be hopefully A-okay and secure a win for the Crazy Idol Hachima. But right now, Shazrin Reza is really trying to break that tie with Farafama in order to get the most wins in Holo GT3 and just as the ARO in general.
Well, he has already broken the record for most wins for a Hololive member in the ARO, 7 for Himamori Luna. That is for points-paying races. But for all races overall, that would be 8. And right now, Kaczynski, fastest lap of the race, 152, 131. He's going to try his luck to attack Salvaman onto the final laps. And right now, we have 3 to 4 high-performing talents at the moment inside the top 4. As you can see here, Mead is still holding off quite well against Shazrin. Gibbens is slowly catching up, but I don't think it will be enough. So right now, Mead is a bit comfortable. He can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief, but still, he still has work to do to see if he can get Hachima her first win since 2022.
It is still very uncomfortable, don't get me wrong. Second gap between you and second place, which I would be sweating a little due to the closeness. This is just a very close and intense race going in, but Shazrin Reza is slowly losing pace at the moment, slowly widening the gap between him and Mead, and Gibbons still probably wants that second place spot and might make a one last attack attempt in order to secure as many points as possible.
And right now, with the gaps that they have at the moment, Gibbons will pull away from Bauer, but he will lose a bit to Shazrin Reza. The final lap of the Motegi 400 Split 8 race is about to get underway. And now look at Callum Gibbons. He's now going side by side with Shazrin Reza. He has the better acceleration. He is getting closer and closer, but I don't think he has the pace or the ball or the guts and the guile needed to actually make the pass done. And as you can see here, Gibbons have basically lost out just a bit against Shadrin Reza, and now Ryu is in the mix. And as for John Mead, he can breathe a huge sigh of relief. He's still nearly 2 seconds over Shadrin Reza. He just might be able to bring this one home.
I should mention that luckily nobody managed to crash out this race, which I am very proud of each of our drivers for managing to make it to the end of the race instead of crashing out, you know. Especially in the start where that usually sometimes happens.
Well, there has been...
Good job.
Yeah, true.
Good job.
Yeah, good job to everyone for having a almost clean race. There have been some contact between Fumi and some of the other drivers here. And speaking of drivers that we need to commend, John Mead, the number 81 Akai Hato Honda, it will be the first win for the renumbered car. The 2 wins before had this car have number 8, and for this car to have be number 81 for John Mead to bring it home and for John Mead to win at Honda's home track here in Motegi. Remember, Honda owns this track. And for John Mead to win the first race for Akai Hato since May 2022 in Sepang, it's going to be a huge achievement for this man, John Mead. Coming into the final two corners, he's going to remain uncontested. There were some late race scares coming into the pace differences, and with that out of the way, John Mead wins the Motegi 400 Split A race.
John Mead winning the race for the Crazy Idol with excellent cooking, I should add. Finally winning it. It's been over a year. The Hachama car has come far. Finally has won this race.
Southern Reza consolidates second place. Gibbens in third. Reliu fourth. Bauer fifth. Salman with another great run inside sixth place. Here's Kaczynski. Tried his best to catch up, but it just wasn't enough. Commendable race for every single one of these drivers. Mendes scores a top 10 finish for Hakui Koiri, something that Zikun really could not have done. So great job for Fabian Mendes for bringing the win home for bringing a good result home for Koiri. Wheatley scores ninth. After all that, he finally gets points on the board. Congratulations to him as well. Olgor in 10th. Not the race that he wanted, but it's still pretty okay.
Yeah, it's been. Oh my God, it's been a lot. A new Koyori driver did great and arguably better than me, which I'm definitely not salty about. And good job to every racer that participated. And I'm sorry, Saharto, that you dropped down 13 places.
Anyways, back into the race results. A very amazing race there. Honda's first win in Motegi in Hololive GT3 comes from John Mead representing Akai Hato. That's a very good result. He might just be able to compete for a championship after all. Southern Reza will be able to close into Callum Gibbons. It was at 95 points and it's now dropped down to what should be 70 points. It's still in Callum Gibbons' favor as he has a 70-point cushion over Southern Reza coming into the final Split A race at Sepang. Reliu in 4th place for the Sakamata Chloe. Best result for the Chloe car up to this point. Daniel Bauer for Yozora Mel doing very well to stay inside the top 5 and minimize the damage done. And then we have Crystal Salaman in 6th place for ASCII, and again another good showing for the ASCII Honda. Raj Kaczynski 7th place for Yuzuki Choco, another good result for the Choco mates out there. Fabio Mendes, as what Zeke mentioned, he is proud that the Hakui Koyori car is in the top 10 for the first time. It's sure Zeke Wimberly had to walk so that Fabio Mendes could run. So again, great stuff there from Fabio Mendes to get a good finish for Koyori. Griffin Wheatley finally scores his first points inside the top 10 for Kazama Iroha. From Olga for Ozora Subaru is your 10th place guy inside the top 10. Michael Turner finishes 11th for Shirogane Noah. Croatia with another points finish for Takani Lui, doing very well there. Sari Kaimov from Uzbekistan finished 13th for Laplas Darkness. Mikolev did as well as he could in 14th place. And Makoto Miyamoto, after all of that, she finished inside the points still, which is amazing. Kaminari Riba just finished outside the points, almost there overtaking Miyamoto, but just didn't come. It just didn't come. And then Wawan Suharto, one of the biggest losers, unfortunately, and it had to come on the day that Flair's gonna do her mini live, which is a shame, but it happens. And Hofumi in the 18th place again. Hofumi's poor run at Motegi continues. So with that out of the way, before we get into the championship standings coming into the after this round coming into Sepang, I would like to hear your thoughts of this race overall.
It was not as chaotic as the general race in the ARO, which is both relieving and slightly disappointing. No crash outs, so that's great. And elf friends are seeding.
Elf friends are seeding, which is a bit of a shame. So anyways, let's take a look back into the championship standings. 3 races done in the Split A season. Let's just show you of the provisional standings coming into the final race here in Sepang. Just wanted to just get the right specific window here, and right now I am not seeing the window as it stands. Just gonna need to check back on the just gonna need to check back on the window, see if I could catch the content manager thing. We're just gonna need to do this. Hang on. Hang on. Don't capture cursor. So apologies, we have to show you guys a bit of the how do we say this, the bit of that OBS setup that we've had at the moment, but we just want to show you all what happens in the how do we say this, the points standings at the moment. And just wanted to confirm you all that Callum Gibbens with 525 points on offer right now, and then we have Daniel Bauer at 458. And looking into the order here at the moment, it looks very good here. And yes, we're using Content Manager. Thank you very much here. And then Shadow Reza having 455 points for Himamori Luna. There's going to be a massive battle here. And actually, just wanted to mention to you that you need to be about 325 points for you to properly challenge for the Split A title, because anyone who is lower than that, then you're still out, and then you're probably out of title contention anyways. So with that out of the way, only Callum Gibbons, Daniel Bauer, Mohamed Shadow Reza, and John Mee are going to be contesting for the Split A title in the final race at Sepang. Raji Kaczynski is the first guy out on the outside looking in, 279. Crystal Salman is also on the outside looking in. He's jumped up to 6th place in the split standings, 242. Wim Olgor in 7th for the with 194. Isakai Dmykolev in 8th place for Miko, 191. Rilu jumps up to 10th with 144 points. Great race from him. Makoto Miyamoto is in 9th place. He has 163 points for Tsunamaki Watame. And we have Michael Turner for Shirogane Noel. And Fabio Mendes in the Hakuya Koiri card, running out the top 12. And from 13th on back, the Nissan woes just keep continuing with Ruffin Wheatley, Wawan Suharto, Suri Kayumov, Robert Kurisha, Hofumi, and Kamine Riba representing. Just wanted to check back. Kazuma Iroha, Wawan Shirai Nui Flare, Laplace Darkness, Takane Louie, Tokinosora, and Omar Polka down in the bottom 6 positions. So let's hope that they have a very good run at Sepang. That's all we need to wish on them. So anyways, let's take a look back into the intermission here just to end the stream here. I hope everyone enjoys the stream. I'm Mama Shadan Reza, and alongside me is Zeke Wimberly in the commentary booth. Tomorrow we'll be continuing the stream for Split B, and for the Split B race here, we hope everyone will be there as well. And with that out of the way, you've been watching the 2023 Motegi 400 Split BA race of the 2023 Hololive GT3 Japan Series season.